Welcome to the lecture on engineering graphics. Today we will learn about letter writing. In the previous lecture we have learned about different letters. We have learned their shapes and we have learned about vertical Gothic letters. So in this lecture I will tell you about the shapes of those letters again. I will tell you how to write those letters on the grid sheet. So we will start with the letters and we will take the height of each letter as 14 millimeters. So we know that the standard ratio for letters is 7:5. So if we are considering 14 mm as the height of letter, then its corresponding width will become 10 because we have increased the height to 14. So factor is 2. We have increased the height by 2 times. So we have to increase the width also by 2 times. So I will discuss the shapes of all the letters by considering standard height of 14 mm and standard width of 10 mm. So as we learned in the class, in the previous lecture, that we should draw the guidelines first in order to draw the letters. So over here I will draw guidelines first in order to practice the shapes of different letters. So how we will draw the guidelines? We will line our scale with the row of these dots and we will draw a very thin line, means we will not give any pressure on the nib of the pencil and we will draw a very thin line. So let me complete up to the end of this page. So we are ready with the first guideline. It must be very thin. Now as we said that we will use 14 mm height. Now from this guideline we have to measure 14 millimeters. So let me place scale on the first guideline and now I will measure 14 mm. So 14 will be over here. Then let me again mark a point somewhere over here at 14 millimeters. So this is 14. And let me mark one more point somewhere over here as 14 millimeters. Now after that I will line my scale with these points to draw the second guideline. So I will draw this guideline also very thin. No pressure on the nib of the pencil. Just use the weight of the pencil to draw thin line. Now I have aligned the next 2 points to complete this line. So you can see we have drawn 2 guidelines and these are very thin, continuous thin lines. And before practicing the shape of letters, let us draw the center line also. So as we know that total height is 14 millimeters, so center line will lie at 7 millimeters. So let me measure 7 millimeters. Let me mark the points at this place as well, and let me mark one more point over here at 7 millimeters. So now let us align these 2 points with this scale to draw the center line, and center line should also be thin, continuous thin line. Then align these 2 points to complete the remaining length of the center line. It must be continuous thin. Now let us start from letter A. In the lecture we discussed about boxes. So over here I will discuss the shapes of all the letters by considering the box only. So let me consider this first point, and as we are taking height of the letter as 14 mm, so width of standard letters will be 10 millimeters and distance between 2 points on this grid is equal to 10 millimeters. Fine. So if I am taking this point as the first point, then if I want to draw letter A, then I need a box of 14 by 10. So after this point I need the next point at 10 millimeters. So on this grid the next point is already at 10 millimeters. So no need to measure if you are using a grid sheet. Now below this point we'll mark one point here on the third guideline. Then below that point mark another point on the third guideline. Make sure that you are not making these points bold. Only just mark the points. Now you can see we have 4 points now. So I can say this is a box of 14 by 10. So in this box we will practice letter A. So let us see the shape of letter A, how to draw. So somewhere in between these 2 points, means in the mid of this particular line of 10 millimeters, I will mark a point approximately at the mid. Then I will align these 2 points and I will sketch a thick line with the help of scale. First of all we will practice letters with the help of scale only. Then join these 2 points and complete the second line of the letter. Then the point which we have to remember about letter A is that this third line we will draw below the center line. So you can see this much below the center line you have to draw the third line of A. So I hope the shape of letter A is clear to you. Now let us discuss about letter B. So I'm leaving a gap of 10 millimeters so that you should understand the shapes better. Now from this point I will consider the box of letter B. So letter B has a ratio of 7:5. So for that letter also ratio will become 14:10. So if I want to start the box of letter B from this point, so next point must be at 10 millimeters. So these two has a distance of 10 millimeters in between them. So what I will do, below this point I will mark a point here on the third guideline, and below this I will mark a point here, third guideline. It means now I have a box of 14 by 10. So these 4 points are representing the box. Now in letter B we have learned that we will draw a vertical line here. Then up to the mid of these 3 lines we will draw straight lines. So let me draw straight lines up to the mid. This we have already learned in the lecture. See, we have drawn straight lines up to the mid. Then after that what we will do, we will mark one point here which is in the mid of this upper half of the box, and I am using complete width of the box. Then I will connect these 3 points with the help of curve. Initially you will face problems in drawing the curve. So what you can do, you can first sketch a dotted curved line. Once you are sure that the path is smooth or the curve is correct, then you can make it thick in a single stroke. So initially you can adopt this practice, but later on when you will practice 7 or 8 letters, then you may be able to draw curves in first attempt only. So see, this is the total width of the box. So in the lower, at the mid of the lower half of the box I will mark one point. Now I will connect these 3 points with the help of curve. So let us make first a light path. Once you show curve is correct, make it dark in a single stroke. Remember, don't shade. Sometimes what we do, in order to correct the curve, we shade like this. So that is wrong. You have to draw curve in a single stroke without any shade. So we are ready with letter B. Now let us discuss the shape of letter C. So I am considering these 2 points now. Gap is 10 millimeters. So below this point mark one point on the third guideline. Below that point mark one point here. So these 4 points representing the box of letter C. So in letter C we learned that we will start from the mid of the upper half up to the mid of the lower half, and we will draw a straight line. See, from the mid of upper half to the mid of lower half, straight line. Then mid of this distance mark a point, then mid of this upper half mark a point. Then connect these points with dotted curve first. If you are unable to draw correctly in the first attempt, Then once you are sure that curve is correct, then make it dark in a single stroke. Fine. Similar method we will adopt at the bottom, midpoint and midpoint. Then we will draw a curve between these 3 points and we will make curve thick in single stroke. So this is letter C. Next is letter D. So I will consider these 2 points now. Below this point, mark a point on the third guideline. Below this point, mark a point on the third guideline. So align your scale with these 2 points to draw the vertical line for letter D, and up to the mid at the top and at the bottom we will draw straight lines and draw single stroke only, don't repeat or don't use double stroke. Then use the complete width of the box, that is 10 millimeters, and mark a point here. Then connect these 3 points with a light curve first. Once you are sure curve is correct, make it dark in a single stroke. So this is the shape of letter D. Next is letter E. So I am considering this box. Below that point, mark a point here. Below that point, mark a point here on the third guideline. So in letter E, what we will do, we will first draw a vertical line over here. Then we will complete this length up to the complete width of the box. Then this will be up to the mid of the box, and this will be slightly shorter than the complete width of the box. You can see we have left some gap over here, so it is slightly shorter than the lower length of E. Next is letter F. So there is no change in letter F. We will draw a vertical line here. Then after that we will draw a full length up to the complete width of the box. Then on the center line up to the mid of the box we will draw letter F. Then we will talk about G. So this is the box for letter G. So what we will do in this, midpoint of upper half, midpoint of lower half, we will draw a straight line like we did in case of letter C. Then midpoint here, connect these points with a curve and make it dark in a single stroke, and repeat at the bottom. So midpoint of this complete width, and over here what we have to do, we have to make lower part of the lower curve of G slightly bigger than upper curve. So instead of marking a point at mid of lower half, we will mark somewhere over here, that is close to the center line like we did in case of A, slightly below the center line. So we have marked point there. Then we'll connect these 3 points with the help of curve. Fine. Now if you will do this, you will find that lower half of G is slightly bigger than the upper half. Then from this point up to the mid of the box, we will sketch a straight line. Make sure that you are drawing only single stroke lines. So this is letter G. Next we will practice letter H. Nothing new in letter H. So draw 2 straight lines like this. See, I have used full width of the box and mark third line on the center line. This is letter H. Next is letter I. For letter I, there is no need of any box. We will just draw a vertical line. Next is letter J. So consider this box now. But in case of letter J, we know the ratio is 7:4. So if we are considering height as 14 mm, then it will become 8 millimeters. So width will be 8 in case of J. Now suppose this is a box of 10. So 8 will be somewhere over here. So approximately I left 2 millimeters. So this will become 8 millimeters. Now what I will do, from that point I will sketch a vertical line up to the mid of the lower half of the box. Then this width I am using right now, this is 8 millimeters prox. Then mark a point somewhere over here and over here. So connect these points with the help of curve. So this is J. Don't draw any line at the top. Next is K. So K is again 7:5, that means 14:10. So let me use this box. Let me mark a point here and over here. So this is a box for K. So what we have to do in K, see carefully. After drawing the vertical line, locate the midpoint of lower half. It is somewhere over here. Then see this corner of the box. Align your scale with these two, midpoint of the lower half and corner of the box. Draw a line. Fine. Then align your scale with this corner and midpoint of the upper half. Align these two, but draw a line up to this point only. So this is K. L. Nothing new in L. We have to draw a vertical line and we have to draw a horizontal line. The only thing is, if total width of the box is 10 millimeters, we will draw this only up to 8. So this is 14:8, because for L the ratio is 7:4 like J. Now we will practice other letters, but before that let me draw the guidelines now. So let me draw first guideline. So again I will measure 14 millimeters. So let me measure 14 millimeters from here. This is 15. 14 will be somewhere over here. Then again measure 14 millimeters. Then let me mark one more time somewhere over here, 14 millimeters. Then let us join these 2 points with the help of scale and draw another thin line. So third guideline, or the second guideline you can say. So let me complete this guideline up to the end. Now what we will do, we will draw the center line which will be at 7 millimeters. So let me mark the points at 3 places. So 7 millimeters, again 7 millimeter over here. Then we will join these points with the help of scale and draw a thin line which is a center line. Now complete the remaining length of the center line by joining these 2 points. So see, again I am drawing a thin continuous line. Now let us practice letter M. Now in case of M, we know the ratio is 7:6. So if we are considering height as 14, so width for letter M will be 12. Now you see, if I consider this box, this has a width of 10 millimeters. So if I have to locate 12, 12 will be somewhere over here. Fine. So this is now 12. So no need to measure. Approximately leave 2 millimeter gap. This much is 2 millimeters. So this will become 12. So from this end draw a vertical line, and from this end draw another vertical line. Now see, this is 12. Somewhere over here locate its midpoint, means at 6 approx. Then join these 2 points with the help of scale. So this is letter M. Next is N. There is nothing new in N. So it has a standard ratio of 7:5. So we'll use a box of 14:10. So there is nothing new in N. Next is O. Again O has standard ratio of 7:5. So ratio will be 14:10. So let me use this box. So let me mark points here. So these 4 points will be for O. So in O, what we do, from mid to mid we draw straight lines. You see, from mid of the upper half to the mid of the lower half, straight line. Do the same thing this side as well. Mid to mid, draw straight lines. Then locate the mid of this width, that is 10, and draw a curve at the bottom, and mid of this distance, and draw the curve at the top. Join these 3 points. Fine. So this is a capsule shape. Next is P. So in case of P, what we will do, draw a vertical line first, then up to the mid of this straight line we will draw a straight line. Then like A, slightly below the center line, draw a straight line up to the mid of the total width. Total width is 10. So up to mid, straight line, and below the center line. Now we have to use full width of this box, so that is somewhere over here. So connect these points with the help of curve now. Fine, make it arc in a single stroke. So this is P. Next we will learn about Q. So for Q we will repeat O. After that find the mid of the lower half and join these 2 points. So this is Q. Next is R. For R we will repeat P, and from this point to the corner of the box. This is the total width of the box, 10 millimeters. And where this straight line ends, from that point we will draw a line to the corner of this box. So that will be R. Next is S. So S has again the same ratio, 7:5, that is 14:10. So let me use this box for S. So for S, what we will do, midpoint, 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 draw a curve, then mid, 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 curve at the bottom as well. Fine. Then join these 2 points with 2 curves, one at the bottom in the downward direction, one in the upward direction. Then once you are sure that shape is correct, make it thick in a single stroke. So this is letter S. T, there is no change in T. Fine. Just draw a straight line of 10 millimeters. From the mid, draw a vertical line. Next is U. So what we will do in U, we will use this width of 10 millimeters. So from this point up to the mid of lower half, draw straight lines. From this point, draw straight line up to the mid of lower half. You can see up to the mid of the lower half we have drawn straight lines. Now locate this mid of total width somewhere over here. Connect these 3 points with the help of curve. Make it dark in a single stroke. Don't shade. This is U. Next is V. So take this as box, mark points here. So this is the total width of the box. Locate its midpoint, that will be somewhere over here. Now connect these 2 points and these 2 points. So nothing new in V. Next is W. So we know for W the ratio is 7:8. So if you are taking 14 mm as height, then it will become 16. So you see this is a box of 10, and if I consider these two, it will become 20. So somewhere in the mid will be 15. So 16 will be somewhere over here. That's it. No need to measure it. So below this point, mark a point here, and below this point, mark a point here. So I am now using 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 points as a box for W. So it is 14/16. Now in case of W, from this point of the box, we will leave some gap around 2 to 3 millimeters. That is somewhere over here. Whatever gap you left from this side, same gap you should leave from this corner of the box, somewhere over here. See, same gap. Then join this point to the upper corner of the box. Similarly, join this point to the upper corner of the box. So you will get 2 taper lines, and these 2 should be symmetric. Then this is 16. So 8 will be somewhere over here. Locate the center. Then join these 2 points with straight lines. So this will be letter W. Next is X. There is nothing new in X. Below this point, mark a point here. Below this point, mark a point here. So this is a box for X. So join opposite corners of the box with straight lines. That's it. Next is Y. Let me use this box for Y. Let us mark 2 points here. So this is box for Y. Now in case of Y, we will mark a point below the center line somewhere over here. So it is the mid of total width, but it is 1 unit below the center line, like we did in case of A. Then join these 2 points with the help of straight lines. Then from this point, draw a vertical line in downward direction. So this is letter Y. So what is the important point to remember? That this is a perfect V, and this intersection is 1 unit below this center line, and this is a vertical line. In case of Z, so let me first draw the guideline. So again measure 14 millimeters. It will be somewhere over here, 14. So this is 14 again. Let me draw a line here. That will be a continuous thin line. Let me mark another point somewhere over here at 14 millimeters to complete the full length. Join these points carefully. So we have drawn the two guidelines. Now let us locate its center line. So center line will be at 7 millimeters. So it will be somewhere over here. Let us mark 7 millimeters again, and at this place as well. Then we will connect these points with continuous thin line. Now let us practice the shape of letter Z. So nothing new in Z. Draw this as 10, and below these 2 points mark 2 points over here on the guideline, and connect these 2 points with another straight line. Then we will join these 2 corners of the box. So this is Z. So we have discussed the letters in detail. So we have used scale to draw the straight lines, fine, and we have drawn dotted lines, dotted curves first to draw the curves of these letters. So this you will do when you are practicing these letters for the first time, but when you will practice for 1 or 2 times while solving few problems, then you will get to know how to draw these letters freehand without using any scale. Fine. So that we will also practice how to write these letters without scale. Now let us discuss about numerals. So let us start with numeral 1. So let me discuss the shapes of all the numerals one by one. So in case of numeral 1, the ratio is 7:3. So right now we are taking height as 14, so it will become 14:6. Okay, so let me start from here. So you will draw a vertical line first. Now you see this is 10 millimeters, so 6 will be somewhere over here, and somewhere over here this will be 6 total width, and we have located the mid of upper half. Then we will join these 2 points. So this is the shape of 1. Next we will discuss about 2. Bache, though we said that all the numerals are in 7:4, so with that ratio it will become 14:8. But over here, in order to save time, I will not locate 8 as the width of each numeral. I will use 10 only, means I will write all numerals in 7:5 just to save the time. So it will become 14:10. So I will practice letters, or I will show you the shapes of all numerals in 14:10 only, the way we practice these letters. So let me discuss 2. So I am using 14/10. So below this let me mark a point here, below this let me mark another point here. Now midpoint, 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 curve at the top, then straight line at the bottom, make curve thick once you are sure it is smooth. Then we have to connect these 2 points with the help of 2 curves, one in downward direction, second slightly in upward direction. So let us create a path first like this. Once you are sure, make it thick in a single stroke. Next is numeral 3. So let us choose these 2 points, and below these 2 points mark 2 more points on the guideline. Now mid of upper half, mid of this width, mid of upper half, draw a curve at the top. Then center of the box, join these 2 with curve again. So let me make it thick. After that, some up to this point, draw a straight line, then curve at the bottom like this. So this is 3. Next is 4. Suppose this is the box for 4, 10, 14. So below this let us mark point here, below this let us mark point here. Now from this corner leave some gap around 2-3 millimeters. Leave this much gap and draw a vertical line. Then from the mid of the lower half, this is lower half, from the mid of lower half up to the complete width of the box, draw a horizontal line. So there will be slight extension over here. Then join these 2 points with the help of straight line again. So you can see total width is still 10. Fine, but over here we left some gap to draw the vertical line. Next is 5. So let us say this is the box of 5. So up to we will draw a straight line first over here. We will leave some gap around 2 to 3 millimeters. Then mid of upper half we'll draw, not mid, up to this center. We will draw a straight line. Then below we have to draw a perfect circle, almost a circle. So you can first draw a path. If you are not sure that you can draw in the first attempt, then make that path thick like this in a single stroke. So this is 5. Next is numeral 6. So let us practice numeral 6 now. So mid to mid, straight line, mid of the total width, mid, draw a curve at the top. So let me complete the curve now. Then below we have to draw a circle. So let me draw circle with dotted line first, almost a circle. Fine, then make it thick in a single stroke. 6. Next is 7. So suppose this is the box of 7, then what you will do, straight line here and connect these points of the box. So it is 7. Next is numeral 8. So let us practice numeral 8. Let me extend the lines. So mid, 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 mid. Draw an oval shape at the top. Fine. Now make it thick. Now create same mid, mid, mid oval shape at the bottom. So this is 8. Means it should not be like this, like the way we draw. It should be perfect oval at the top and perfect oval at the bottom. Like this we should draw. Next is 9. So again it is opposite of 6. Mid to mid, straight line. Then mid, mid, curve at the bottom. Then we will draw almost a circle at the top. So this is numeral 9. Next is 0. 0 is exactly similar to O, but only thing is the ratio. In case of 0 we follow 7:4, but in case of O we follow 7:5. So I hope the shapes of all the letters and numerals are clear to you.